Alright, round 3 started. We're up against Sparrow. We won the die roll again. And Sparrow, we played against him before. And he plays Familiar combo. So we'll keep. Seems like a pretty decent hand to me. The only question I have is, do I want to hold off on enchanting my creatures until I get the Ledge Walker in play, or should I enchant the Bogle? I think I want to enchant the Bogle. I mean, if he's going to block with a Familiar, that's fine. The less familiars he has, the better. So next turn I will Abundant Growth and Rancor, and that will allow me to have the potential to get a turn 3 on the if I draw a mana source. Right, there's that mana source, so now we will Abundant Growth. And swing for 3. Most likely he just plays yes, I'll rather a bounce land this turn, which eats his entire turn, so we will be playing an Armadillo Cloak. You know, he's likely going to try and beat me through milling, so it seems better for me to play a Ledge Walker and an Ethereal Armor here, because that means I'll get in 1 more point of damage this way this turn, and next turn I can attack with the Ledge Walker. Although the clock is still probably the same. So I won't be able to kill him next turn, but the turn after is where the clock is. And so he has time to sculpt his hand and to get ready to go off. One thing about Familiar combo is they can untap with 2 or 3 lands, and then that can be the only permanents that they have on the board, and then they can win right there. So Ethereal Armor will give 1, 2, 3. So the play here is still to Ethereal Armor just to get in maximum damage. And that is game 1. Alright, so I like to bring in the archers because the archers can shoot down fairies. And what does he have for his list here? Stonehorn Dignitary, which we can't really do much about, and Prismatic Strands. So bring in relics. Don't want Tangle, so Flaring Pain is an option. Now I assume he runs snaps. 3 snaps to help him untap, targeting his Cloud of Fairies. The question is it worth running a Standard Bearer just to interfere with his snaps? I don't think it is. I've got 5 cards to take out. Definitely been taking out Rancor a decent amount. Is that what I want to do here? I think now I want to take out 2 Vogels because I am bringing in 3 creatures and 2 Rancors. Right, 1 more card to cut. Card Crucifix's Insight just because it's pretty slow. In fact, I will cut both of the Insight and bring in the other Rancor because we don't want to slow down too much. And we will keep. Alright, so we could play the Archer first. Definitely playing a Forest first. Could play Utopia Sprawl. To play multiple. I don't want to play Utopia Sprawl. Right now I want to just gonna play a Glade Cover Scout. Next turn I'll worry about the getting the Archer in play. Alright, get the Utopia Sprawl in play. Get the Archer out there. And let's start some beats. There's a Seagull Gate Oracle, that's fine. It's effectively gains him 3 life and by chump blocking. And lets him grab a card from his top 2. So sleight of hand, gain 3 life. Plays another familiar, or his first familiar of this game, and another Seagate Oracle. Alright, so now he probably has a good hand. He has 6 cards in hand after 2 Seagate Oracles. We draw a Ledgewalker, which doesn't really have much use. Might as well play the Ledgewalker. And if we draw an enchantment, that will force him to have to block next turn. So let's see if he's trying to go off here. If he does, he's probably going to start with snapping the Scattershot Archer, which he does not. Alright, we do draw an enchantment, which means he will have to chump this turn. Or maybe he can just Prismatic Strands. Well, he doesn't have a white creature in play right now, which means he won't be able to flash it back until then. But who knows, he could play the Rhino right here. Sunscape Familiar. So there's a white creature that he can use to flash back the Prismatic Strands. Now he's really sculpting his hand. And that's one of the ultimate hand sculpting spells in the format. Not sure what exactly the extra set of eyes right beneath those other eyes are going to do for you. I understand spiders have maybe a similar setup, but I don't see that as being very useful. Alright, so he's definitely going to have to flash back the strands here. If I did bring in Flaring Pain, I would just be holding it in my hand right now because I'd have no way to cast it. So he gets a compulsive research for 1 blue mana. Alright, what are you going to do? Alright, he's looking for C. Just to cast for C for 2 mana. 2 mana, scry 4, draw 2. Oh no, for 1 mana. 1 mana, scry 4, draw 2. That is impressive, but now he's going to have to play a fairy with his 1 blue mana to untap some lands. He has 8 cards in hand, so one of them is certainly going to be a fairy. So he starts off with snapping back the archer, which means a fairy's coming. Muldrifter gets to draw 2. Here come the cloud of fairies. And there goes my next attack step. And now he's attacking. Alright, so I don't get an attack step here, so I will just play my archer. And his turn. Alright, so he has tons of cards in hand, tons of creatures, and almost as much time on the clock as I did. He probably has plenty of ways to blink his, oh, he can just capsize it and play it repeatedly now. Well, I'm not going to concede just because in order for his deck to win, it will eat a lot of time on this clock, so that's another method of victory. I'm waiting the arcade, as you can see. This is what the client does. I'm going to pick blue just to make our opponent think. We have really no use for, clearly have no use for blue mana, but this will just make our opponent question things if he was checking to see what we were doing. So it's at this point, this game is impossible for us to win because we can't stop the capsize Stonehorn Dignitary combo, but we can just make our opponent spend his time. Alright, so he'll mill us out here. But it is 42 cards, so we have to run this thing 21 more times. So much clicking to go through is just, it must be annoying. I remember when I was playing Graveyard deck, when you want to use the Tortured Existence and use your Madness Zombie, in order to use that little synergy, it just requires so much clicking that I ended up losing due to time. You know, I won game 1, and I was in game 2. I think I might have been behind it in game 2, but I ended up timing out. So now we have close to a 3-minute advantage here. We've taken a decent amount of time playing this this wall. One of the only walls played in Pauper. I know, I'm not sure if Pestilence is still considered a deck right now, but Pestilence plays a 0-3 wall that gains you some life. And there used to be a wall deck that would use the wall that tap, add green mana equal to the amount of creatures you have with Defender. And then it would use the Crusher and some other green creatures to win with. I don't like losing with 21-21 First Strike Trample, Hexproof, effective double lifelink creature in play, but that's life. It would have been nice if he would have gotten one of these relics and he wouldn't have been able to get all of this advantage or use of the wall here. Let's use the archer just to, because we can. No reason not to. Alright, just 9 more iterations, and then our opponent gets to win. So we'll be on the play. So, do I want to change my sideboard options and bring in the spell that lets us make it so combat damage and all damage can't be prevented? But it does cost red mana, and we will have to have a source for it, and we could easily be stuck with that in hand, not being able to cast it. Or that's more of not necessarily as aggro as we could be. I could bring in Oblivion Ring to get rid of a familiar. But it is 3 mana to take care of a 2 mana card either way. And he could snap his familiar in response for 1 blue mana. Not sure if there's anything I can do to stop the Stonehorn Dignitary Capsize combo, other than kill him before he gets it going. And we are milled. Alright, so our opponent has 12 minutes and 17 seconds to beat us. Alright, so do we want to bring in Flaring Pain or not? Let's see. We could even try and bring in Standard Bearer to make him use his Capsize on that, but I do not like that option. And if we want to bring in Flaring Pain, our only source for it is a land with abundant growth on it, or to play a Utopia Sprawl and choose red. But if I don't have it in my sideboard for this, the only other card it would be in here for is Circle of Protection Green and Fogs. I feel like I do want to bring that in, and I will just take out 1 Commune. Savage Punch. It can be a little difficult for me to get my creature big enough for that to be useful, and I'd rather have anything else that I have to cut for it here. That's really only in here for Standard Bearers. Anything else I would want to change about this list now? The only other thing I could think of is to take something else out to add that Rancor. So I'll just click Submit and see where this gets us. You like to play first? Yes. Alright, so we have a Flaring Pain and an Ethereal Armor right off the bat here. Our only aura is Ancestral Mask, and we have at least that we can cast. I think I want to keep this because I have the lands I need to cast at least these 2 spells, and I believe I will draw the other cards I need. Alright, Sparrow. Alright, so we're in game 3, and if we lose this game, we are out of prize contention. Alright, Forest does absolutely nothing for us. It's pretty much the worst draw that we could have drawn. So his next turn, he's either going to play a Familiar or play a Bounce Land. Sunscape Familiar comes down. We draw another Forest, which is completely useless. Alright, what's our opponent gonna do? He's tapping his lands, he's playing a bounce hand, which makes me think he's gonna play a Cloud of Fairies. There's the Cloud of Fairies. And another Familiar. So our opponent is effectively going off here turn 3. And we have been drawing horrendously. Our opponent has 7. Plenty of mana. Ghostly Flickering. The Seagate Oracle gets him another card. So he effectively has the combo here. Ghostly Flicker. 2 Familiars in play. Cloud of Fairies. And his wall. So my only chance of winning this now is my opponent just running out of time. That's pretty much the only way I can win. We clearly drew horribly. We drew 4 non-lands and 5 lands. I don't think even if we drew well, we would not be beating this draw that our opponent got. So he's discarding Prismatic Strands. Really, the only thing that we're worried about here is just right up here. The clock. He has over 8 minutes to mill us. Pretty sure he's going to do it, but and there is like a 5% chance, maybe a little less than that, that he just goes too slow and can't get it done in time. At this point, it might actually be better for him to just stop, pass the turn to me, and him start attacking. But now he has this Sage in play with 7 minutes plus on the clock. And he gets to mill us 4 cards a spell now. So that's just about 12 iterations and then we're milled. So the idea of timing him out will not work, and we are not in the prizes. So that stinks, but I guess I'll play round 4 just for just for kicks. There's really no way that we were going to beat this draw, even if we didn't draw horrendously, which we did. Doesn't look like that much of a forest now, does it? It's all these castles and they just throw in some trees in there. Like, oh look, that's a forest. And forests are supposed to be about nature, and there's nothing natural about this picture. Maybe they should use the art on this forest for the artifact land in Mirrodin block, because it is an artificial forest. Alright, I believe last time that we played against Sparrow we were able to win, and we are not this time, but last time we were playing with land destruction in the sideboard. So maybe that is something to think about, adding some land destruction. Also, my prior versions only ran one relic of Progenitus, but this version runs 2 relics of Progenitus in the sideboard. But we did not get to see either of those in either of these sideboard games. So you can obviously see how useful that would be. And here we are, going to 1 card and then 0 cards left. Alright, hopefully we actually get a game on game 4, because I know a lot of people, once they're out of, when they're in the 2 and 2 slot, or the 1 and 2 slot, they just don't even show up. So, other than that, I hopefully will see you in round 4.